Flooding occurs when a river, lake, or other body of water overflows onto normally dry land. Floods can cause extensive damage to property, infrastructure, and the environment, and they can pose serious risks to human life. Floods are influenced by a variety of factors, including heavy rainfall, snowmelt, storm surges, and human activities that alter the landscape or river flow. Flooding in an Med Sea, the Boscastle flood of 2004. On August 16, 2004, the small village of Boscastle in Cornwall, UK, experienced severe flooding. The flood was caused by an exceptionally heavy rainstorm that dropped 75 millimeters, about 3 inches of rain in just 2 hours. This intense rainfall overwhelmed the rivers Valency, Jordan, and Paradise, which flow through the village. Causes: a slow-moving thunderstorm caused an extreme amount of rain to fall in a short period, leading to rapid runoff. Boscastle is situated in a narrow, steep-sided valley, which funneled the water rapidly into the village. The village's drainage systems were overwhelmed, and the narrow bridges trapped debris, exacerbating the flooding. Impact: property damage: approximately 58 properties were destroyed or severely damaged. Economic loss: the cost of the damage was estimated at around £50 million. Emergency response: over 100 people had to be rescued by helicopters, and the village was evacuated. Lessons learned: improved flood defenses. After the flood, the UK government invested in better flood defenses for Boscastle, including widening the river channel, raising riverbanks, and improving drainage systems. Flood prediction and warning systems. The event highlighted the importance of accurate and timely flood warnings to reduce damage and save lives. Flooding in an LEDC, greater challenges. In less economically developed countries, LEs, the impacts of flooding can be even more severe due to factors like limited infrastructure, lower economic resilience, and less effective disaster response systems. Challenges in LEDCs: higher vulnerability. Many people in LEDCs live in low-lying, flood-prone areas because of population pressures and lack of alternative housing. Limited resources. Governments in LEDCs often lack the financial resources and technology to build adequate flood defenses or to respond effectively to disasters. Health risks. Floods in LEDCs can lead to outbreaks of waterborne diseases such as cholera, as clean water supplies are contaminated. Economic impact. The economic impact of floods in LEDCs is often devastating, with long-lasting effects on agriculture, housing, and livelihoods. Flood management strategies. Dams. Dams are large structures built across rivers to control the flow of water. By holding back water in a reservoir, dams can regulate river discharge, reducing the risk of flooding downstream. Example: the Aswan High Dam on the Nile River in Egypt controls seasonal flooding, provides irrigation water, and generates hydroelectric power. Changing the river's shape, river engineering. Rivers can be straightened to allow water to flow more quickly through an area, reducing the likelihood of flooding. Levees and embankments. Building levees, raised banks, along rivers can help contain floodwaters, preventing them from spilling over onto the surrounding land. Diversion channels. These are additional channels that divert excess water away from areas at risk of flooding. Changing land use. Planting trees in a river's catchment area can help absorb rainwater, reduce runoff, and slow down the flow of water into rivers. Floodplain zoning. This involves restricting certain types of development on floodplains, which are areas that naturally flood. By keeping floodplains free of buildings, we can reduce the risk to human life and property. Sustainable drainage systems. These systems mimic natural processes to manage rainfall and runoff, such as using permeable surfaces, green roofs, and wetlands to absorb and slowly release water. Flooding is a natural hazard that can cause extensive damage, but the impact varies depending on the location and economic development of the area. The Boscastle flood in 2004 is an example from an MEDC, where significant property damage occurred but effective emergency response saved lives. In LEDCs, the impacts of flooding are often more severe due to limited resources and infrastructure. Managing floods requires a combination of structural measures like dams and river engineering, and non-structural approaches such as land use planning and afforestation. These strategies can reduce the risk of flooding and help protect people, property, and the environment. Understanding these approaches is crucial for minimizing the impacts of future flood events.